Hello, it's Uncommon Fossil, and today I want to talk about a deck that should be very familiar to you, Arceus Flying Pikachu. It won Worlds last year in 2022. It is available for free in the Battle Pass. The Tier 0 deck is the Worlds deck called 2022 ADP. I've just modified the deck ever so slightly. I'll talk about that in a minute. But first, I want to talk about why I'm talking about the deck today and some little mini video series that I want to do here. And I was looking at Limitless, the online tournaments, and the decks that are how they're performing well there. And I sorted them all by win percentage, and Lugia Archeops is doing well as expected, right? It's got the 16th highest win rate overall in a lot of plays, right? So it's winning at almost 52% of its games across the board. But since at number 16, that means there's 15 decks with higher win rates, and perhaps one of those decks is better than Lugia. So want to take a look at that and look at some of these decks. Now, within these 15 decks, a lot of them have not been played a lot of times. So I got to just toss out a lot of them. But it leaves us 5 decks, all with winning records, that have all been played by at least 100 people in tournaments. And therefore they're probably, if you average, say, 5 plays per games per tournament, it's like 500 games or more. So therefore a very good sample size, so the win rates should be good. Now, this deck we're starting with is Arceus Flying Pikachu. It's just very marginally better in win rate than Lugia Archeops, only 0.1%, so 0.1% better than Lugia Archeops. But again, that's a high standard it's setting, so being slightly better is still good. We'll talk about the deck as we play. I'm not going to get into that deck. Right now you're probably familiar with it. The one change I made is it had a 2/2 Hisuian Decidueye Vstar in it, mainly for the mirror match up against Arceus, because Arceus was a much bigger factor at the time. It's certainly dropped off a lot now. But Lugia certainly has picked up, is a new thing, and obviously very good. It wasn't around back at World, so it's very good now. And so Aerodactyl has its V-Star power attack, Ancient Stars for 1 energy. It shuts down all abilities on all V Pokemon, which of course includes Lugia V-Star. So if you can get this off before Lugia can use its V-Star power, they can't do that again for the rest of the game. So only 1 energy on a V-Star, not impossible to get off, but of course you can't use Arceus's V-Star power to set up then, because if you use Arceus's V-Star power, you cannot use Aerodactyl V-Star's attack, because it is a V-Star power. I've made that mistake, and it's very embarrassing and very frustrating, because you realize you've thrown the game away when that happens. So we'll see how the deck performs. I think I played it a little bit shortly after Worlds, and I kind of found it to be a tricky deck and not my favorite deck, and obviously I've been playing it recently to prepare for this video. I still find it a tricky deck. I'm not always making the optimal plays. I'll admit you might see that. Hopefully I play well, and I'd like to showcase the deck for what it can do. One of the things that I might like to add into the deck is Drapion V. I don't play that in the deck. Up against Mew, though, Drapion V might just be necessary to win. So we'll see. Can I win this matchup without Drapion in it? So I might want to get off Aerodactyl V-Star power. The problem is, though, it's an attack, so therefore it has to be in the active, and it ends the turn in the active. My opponent might just knock out my Aerodactyl V-Star the next turn, in which case the ability lock is gone. I've given up 2 prizes, and I didn't do any damage on my turn. So it's tricky to do that, I will say. But we'll see what we have here. So, and with 1 Drapion V, the game is certainly not an auto win at all. But we'll see what we can do. So I have Arceus, I guess, is the main attacker here. I have Flying Pikachu I can attack with. It's obviously tankier. Mew probably can't one-shot it, but it doesn't do the most damage around. It certainly is immune to basics, the Mew V-Star, assuming it stays in the active after it attacks. But, I mean, the Flying Pikachu V-Star, VMAX, sorry, Flying Pikachu VMAX. So, getting myself confused with the Mew that I'm up against. But so they couldn't attack into it with Meloetta, but they can obviously, primarily they're attacking with Mew VMAX. So I don't know that Flying Pikachu has a place in this matchup. Could attack with Aerodactyl. It does 240, isn't which is actually the biggest damage of any of my attackers. It does 3 cards go into the lost zone each time, which is not ideal. So I want to throw that down. I need to get some things into play, and I guess I'm going to Marnie here. Yeah, I think I need to Marnie. So I'll save the incense for later. What do I want to accelerate to? I guess I want to accelerate to an Arceus. This deck, I do have Path in the deck, so I kind of need Path, but since my opponent's already started to set up, it may be too late to make Path very effective. The deck plays, let's see, 7 basic energy, so the number of basic energy in the deck isn't ideal. Maybe I want to get another Pokemon down. I think I do. Maybe I'll put down Flying Pikachu. I'm concerned about him for sure, but at least my opponent probably can't one-shot the VMAX. So 2-shotting a VMAX is 1.5 prizes per turn. One-shotting the V-Star, of course, is 2 prizes per turn. So what do I want to do here? I guess I want to set up... I guess I will set up my Flying Pikachu. Not sure that that's the right call. It doesn't do a ton of damage, the Flying Pikachu VMAX, but gives me some options there. Obviously, I didn't hit into Path, which I would have liked to have done. Aerodactyl, if I could have attacked with Aerodactyl that turn, of course, it might have been useful, but it's too late for that now. Obviously, that was turn 1. I can't, and by turn 2, my opponent is just in such a strong position. When Mew sets up, it's brutal. I mean, Mew's a terrific deck. It really is. There's no denying that. It's a bit high roll. That's what I don't like about it. So throwing down the Lost City, right, in case I play Drapion V, is one of the possibilities. But also, in this deck, I don't have any Pokemon recovery. So even if I did, I'd have to have a Rod if I was going to reuse it. But obviously, Mew wants to get rid of Drapion Vs and wipe them out. So Elisa Sparkle. So it's going to one-shot my Arceus. I can... So they're setting up the Genesect. So that's interesting there. I guess I'm not sure what the play there is. I gotta say I'm a little confused by that. I guess it's just for safekeeping for the Meloetta. I don't want to boss up that Genesect, though. It can retreat out. It might be able to attack also. Probably gust up the Genesect with the tool attached. Therefore, it can't attach an air balloon. Now that is confusing, I will say. Oh, they didn't have a VMAX, did they? Okay, so that's interesting. So, how do I play this? I want to... I think I want to keep a boss still, right? So I want to get Arceus VSTAR. Do I want to try to get... But I'd have to use the VSTAR power for that. I don't think I want to do that, do I? So I could knock out the Meloetta, which isn't terrible, but it's not great. I could boss something up. I could use the VSTAR power. I think it's VSTAR power time. So let's think through what I want. I want to attack with him. That's for sure. And I think I want to throw down a Path, right? And I might even then want to gust up another Pokemon. That's a good thought. If I Meloetta, he's got a bench space. Do I just want to knock out the Meloetta? Do I want to gust something up? I can't one-shot the other card, so I'm just gonna. So I'll knock out the Meloetta. I'm not sure if I should have gusted up something else, but I'll accelerate to Arceus V so I can attach a DTE next turn to attack with him if that's what I want. So that's a good card. So I have access to one of my other cards. So he has to bump path, and he also has to thin his hand before he can Genesect. So Silene. All right, so he may have the what's the trainer that the lost that gets rid of stadiums. I'm blanking at the moment. My headset, I hear the big sound of the metal Pokemon as it swings in. So they really failed there, big time. So what do I want to do? Do I want to boss something up? Which I could do. I think I just want to boss up the Meloetta, right? Did he recover the Meloetta? No. So they play Silene, but if I take out the Meloettas, I'm slow. I think Meloetta. Let me take out a second Meloetta. If they can't get Meloetta, right now they're doing huge damage with Meloetta. Huge damage. And I don't like that, right? Because they have 4 in play, so it's 280 with Meloetta or with Unicopy. So Lost Vacuum, that's the name of the card I was trying to think of, right? You can get rid of a tool or a stadium, which they're using now. Yep, there we go. So I don't know. Maybe I should have done something else. I don't know. I'll have access to Flying Pikachu VMAX next turn. We'll see. I'm not certain. I'll attach, probably get Flying Pikachu VMAX. I might attach the Capture Energy depending what my options are here. So this game's starting slow, which used a power deck, but they certainly did not have the power start they wanted. So what, I'm going to take out my V. All right. I mean, that's not horrible, though. What are they going to do? They're thinning, so they one-shot anything at this point that they want to. Not sure why they tossed up the Genesect, though. Are they planning on attacking with it this turn? I don't understand. They have another Mew, which has free retreat, so I'm not certain. That's just a bit odd, I will say. A little bit odd. But that's their choice. I'll have to see what I want to do here. I can search for a Pokemon on my turn. So they wouldn't have had the knockout otherwise. What did they get rid of? How many power tablets? They're out of power tablets, so that's good. So now I can't knock him out, though. So that's a bit of a downer with this deck for sure. I can't knock him out. So path. So I think I want a Crobat or Lumineon here, right? I need to get some cards. So good thing I didn't play the path. You got a Crobat. What do I have here? Do I want to research? Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. I will research. I don't play Choice Belt, unfortunately, so I'll look for Lumineon, get a research, throw down my path, which will eliminate my ability to use Crobat, but that's okay. At least I hope it's okay, right? So I want the path in play, slow down my opponent for sure. I think, did I get rid of the V-Star? I did not, but I don't think I want Aerodactyl V, right? I don't think I do. So let me evolve the Arceus, make him tankier. Probably should attach energy so I can take a prize. So I'm good for prizes the next turn. Let me throw down, yeah, throw down a Bibarel. I mean, I could toss out another Flying Pikachu, but I think I'm not going to get powered up probably, so that's okay. So, Bidoof, and just attack. 10 short, unfortunately. Choice Belt in the deck would have been very nice, but it's not to be. I can two-shot anything, but two-shotting is really not quite enough, is it? So the deck plays, I think it plays 4 boss, yeah. So what do I have for boss? What have I used? 1 boss? Or I have 2 bosses. So I have 2 bosses in deck. So if the path, if they bump the path, then I have an option of getting Crobat. Because I have a quick ball. I could play the Bibarel and quick ball for Crobat. If they don't get rid of Path to the Peak, of course, I don't want to do that. I still might want to toss away the Arceus V to dig more cards out. Okay, that's not bad actually for me, because I didn't I mean, losing the Bidoof is a bit of a downer. Boss's Orders, though, that's a nice card to have for sure. I'm not sure what they're looking for, but Tails is always good, right? Heads is good for them. Tails is good for me. So I take that too. So a bit of a slow game. They got certainly to a slow start. Right now, even prize trade. I'm certainly concerned about this game. Let's see what happens here. So 210, so they couldn't knock me out, because if they had Meloetta in play, I would have been wiped out. So what do I want to do here? I think, let's see, I have a boss in hand also. So I think I boss up the guy on the bench, right? Or should I hit into the VMAX this turn? They're going to knock me out either way, right? So hit into him. I'm just going to do that. I'll save my boss. I have a Raihan. I have knockout on. I have a 3 prizer and a 2 prizer next turn. I don't know. Well, we'll see. I have a chance. The Lumineon could certainly cost me a game. So attacking with Genesect. They're Marnieing me. The boss was nice because I would like to take out the Mew, because the Mew does have the ability to heal itself also, right? So let's see. But right now I've lost access to that, unfortunately. I'm probably not going to be able to boss next turn, so that makes my life very tough. That Marnie. If I had boss in play, I think I would have taken out the Mew. They're attacking with Genesect, which makes sense. I don't have any way to put 10 damage on it, so they wipe me out. Now I don't know if they can win though, right? Right now their only attacker is going to be with the Mew. If they have boss, they have game though, right? Boss gives them game. So I think I probably lose next turn. I think they'll boss up my Lumineon most likely. I have boss in hand, which is quite nice. Do I just want to thin things down at this point? I think I will thin things down for sure. I have boss in deck, right? I have, let's see, I should have I have 1 boss in deck also, and a path. I'll throw down the Crobat as a fake, but I don't want to utilize that. So I will use Bibarel, just thicken up my hand a little bit. All right, well, that's good. I do have Path. So maybe I throw this down here. I'm going to Crobat. The Crobat doesn't hurt me having him in play. Thinning my hand, I think, is a good thing. Just helps both bosses. If I get Marnie, that isn't what I wanted, unfortunately. But that's, you know, I would have preferred not to hit the boss there, because now both bosses are in hand. Marnie means basically I can't, the only way I can access boss is I have to search my deck first, which I have to do something to shuffle my deck. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, there's a decent chance they have game this turn. They should send up a Mew, because Mew has free retreat. And we'll see what happens here. Boss, they have game. They'll knock out my Lumineon or my Crobat. Without boss, though, they don't win. And if they don't have a Marnie, they might. I'm guessing they're in a bit of a situation. They don't have the cards that they want. They've played a lot of supporters. So the Mew, the V, well, it's got free retreat, right? They're not gonna, I guess, what, that doesn't have the most HP. If they manage to evolve it, though, then it's got the most HP. So maybe they drew top decked what they need. Let's see what happens. I don't think they have knockout, though, right? In which case, I have game here. So, okay, so they're getting rid of it, which is a good play on their part. A very good play on their part. And I don't win, right? Oh, no, I do win. With boss, I win here, right? I do 180. They have a V in play. Whoops. So just boss's order. So I think I pulled this one off. So a close game, but one is able to pull out, right? So was able to win the game against Mew. Not the most action-packed game in the world, but got there for sure. A slow game for me, slow game for them. There's definitely the favored matchup there. Drapion V is what the deck needs to become favored. Although I think with one Drapion V, it's still a fairly close matchup. I think I'd need two Drapion Vs to be favored for sure. So let's jump in for another match, see if we can show off the deck a little more. So deck worked there. I was able to utilize it okay. See what happens. So heads, that's my default call for coin tosses. I don't think it's any secrets given away there, because it's a coin toss. It shouldn't, as long as nobody's cheating, it doesn't matter knowing what I'm going to call beforehand, right? The call always takes place before the toss, unless people are betting on what I'm going to call. So, but I don't think the world's come to that level of craziness. So I got to play Pumpkaboo, so that's not great because I only play the one. There's no scoop up net, so now I don't have the ability to bump a stadium. So Colorist's Experiment could be Lost Zone deck, which means they might throw down a Path and get it to stick. That will make my life miserable. I only play Path myself, so I don't love that. But we'll see what happens here. I also have to say I have a Pumpkaboo. It's Goodra. This is a deck I enjoy playing. Lost Zone Goodra. A tough matchup because I'm gonna have to do a lot of work. I don't know that I can even two-shot the Goodra. Do I want the Flying Pikachu is what I'm kind of thinking about at the moment. Obviously, in terms of the Cramorant, the single prize Cramorant, it can't damage the Flying Pikachu if I have attacked it and it stays inactive. But you know, the big damage is from the Goodra, and that's an evolution, so I'm not sure that really matters. That's kind of lousy too. I guess I got to get rid of a Marnie. This is not the start to the game that I wanted. This might just be... This is close to being a loss already, I gotta say. It's looking like a loss. I obviously have not lost yet, but I have a strong feeling that's the way this game's headed. I'm gonna attach because there's not... The deck only plays, what, one switch card, I think, so I could get lucky and get it, but if I probably won't. And then... Alright, so just end turn. I have Quick Ball, so I could get a Crobat or a Lumineon V with it to get some draw. Again, if the opponent throws down a path to the Peak, which I'm sure they would like to, I'm crushed, basically. I mean, maybe they don't. I mean, obviously it shuts off their Gradient Greninja. They can't use the ability on Lugia V-Star, but it's much more devastating to me. Now, I only need to use my V-Star power, really the one ability, and then I don't mind throwing down Path. So I'm going to throw down Path as soon as I have played my Arceus V. I don't think I want to use Aerodactyl. It does do the most damage, which is useful here, but I don't think I want to be throwing 3 cards each attack into the loss zone. So I have the DTE, so I can search for... Alright, so I'm going to have to bump the Stadium to attack also. Another difficulty that my opponent's thrown at me. Obviously makes a lot of sense. So I'll get rid of Aerodactyl VSTAR. I think I want Lumineon, right? I want to research. I need to get cards. So I need to get Path before I attack, but I've got to get the V-Star. And if I want to use the ability after you do that before I get Path down. So it's not the worst spot ever. It's not ideal though. So use the V-Star power, get my 1 research. So I think the deck plays 2, right? So the 1 is prized then, yeah. So attach my energy, which I need to attack. Have to bump that Stadium, of course, also. So got Path. Wow, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is not good. So this is not good. I guess I end turn here because 1, 2, 3, 4. So I Crobat draws me 0 cards. I don't have a way to thin my hand down. The only card I could play is Path, which would get me down to 5 cards after I bet to Crobat. But of course, Path shuts off my Crobat. So there's no point. So I don't want to bump the Temple of Sinnoh at this point. See what happens. Hopefully I get a card, something that will allow me to thin my hand before I Crobat. So my opponent is doing its loss zone thing pretty well. 4, so 5, 6. They get the other Comfy, they'll be to 7, which is what they need to use Mirage Gate to accelerate 2 energy to the Gudra. They got a lot of cards in hand, so the odds they have a Mirage Gate and a V-Star or access to the V-Star are pretty good. Obviously, they're seeing 2 more cards with Comfy right there at 6, so they're going to be at 7 in the loss zone after this. Let's see what they've been discarding. All right, Rope. Capture a Cramorant, but they don't, Cramorant's not going to win them the game here. So had a fortunate game against Mew. This is a deck that's not a great matchup for me, I would say. So I guess they don't have the pieces yet, right? Because now, I mean, they may have more switching cards in hand to guarantee, but they also have to switch into the Gudra to attack. They have the Gudra, so they need to get 2 energy attached. Yep, Mirage Gate. I imagine they'll pull out the attack this turn. Hopefully I can use my V-Star power, throw down the Path to the Peak. I'm gonna advance the Arceus V for sure. I mean, I don't think sitting back and sending up someone, another 2-prizer as fodder is going to be a good thing. So, see what happens. He does 200 damage, so unless he gets a choice belt, he won't one-shot my Arceus V. I need to hit in, though, and do some damage. I need to start forcing them to make moves for sure, though. If I can't do that... So he didn't attack. Now that surprises me, I will say, to say the least, right? So I have 2 boss, which is good. I need to... Wow. Now, why didn't he attack, right? That doesn't make sense, right? He had the attack. What do I do? I guess I throw... I'll attach there. 1, 2, 3. Do I want to boss somebody else up? I guess I do, right? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm in a Crobat for 1. Man, I'm in just desperate. I'm desperate for this though. This is Crobatting for 1. Not good. Okay, so that was that. I have Marnie. I probably get it next turn. Probably. And I might throw it on the path next turn. Maybe I should have... I might path next turn. So they might attack with the second Goodra. They need to get a water energy to be able to attack. Mirage gated first. I guess that makes sense, right? Because as they thin and get cards into hand and such, there's less energy that they can use for the Mirage Gate. So they're 2 waters there, so they don't have water in deck at this point. 1 water there, so this is going okay here. My opponent doesn't have much though, so do I want to... I guess I can't throw down the path yet. Don't think I can, so do I quick ball? Probably thin my deck, right? I don't think I want Flying Pikachu. And I might as well grab something else. Let's see, do I have Switch? I need to get... that V-Star. So, which I have cards to get. So I guess I'll throw down the Bidoof. It may become useful for me also. I will Marnie, which I don't love, but because my opponent's struggling too. But I've got, I haven't done anything yet. So okay, good. I've got what I needed now. I have Switch. So I'll get rid of the capture and I'll get rid of the Bidoof also. Keep the Switch, keep the energy for next turn. I get the Arceus VSTAR. So I have Switch, so what else do I want here? I want to attack for sure. So I want to throw down a path. And what do I want? I guess I want another VSTAR, right? I'll grab another VSTAR. I think that will work for me. A VSTAR and a path. Slow down my opponents, hopefully with the path. I needed that also to be able to attack, right? I had to bump the stadium. So doing 180 damage. They can't use Radiant Greninja. So I'm going to attach to... Now I can attack with him or with him. So now I can attack with either Arceus. I still have 1 basic in hand. My opponent, once again, the mute player didn't do much. My Lost Zone box. I don't honestly. I'm pretty sure they could have attacked, right? I'm not sure what their play was there. Seemed like they intentionally didn't attack unless I missed something. Right, the status effect is it changes its ability, right? Because of path. So path is good. definitely good. I'd like to keep paths going. I could have gotten a Bibarel, but I think, you know, because I'm now in top deck mode, which isn't great. But they got a Lumineon, which, well, that probably not what they want, unless they want to attack Lumineon. They need a water energy, and they can attack this turn. They could heal with the V-Star power. No, they can't do that either. So I guess they made a mistake with Lumineon. They can't heal with the V-Star. So now I have knockout. So that's quite nice for me. So I just hit into them, take 2 prizes. No energies to accelerate, which we knew. So I get the first 2 prizes in this game. The first card I tend to click on the prizes tends not to actually get selected. So anyway, you're seeing two games. I got to stop after this. This is becoming a long video with some relatively slow gameplay, I will admit. So it didn't knock me out, which, you know, obviously I'd prefer to have knocked them out, but they didn't. If they can't bump path, though, right, I think I knock them out next turn. I don't think I want to attach to anybody else at this point. No, I don't do enough damage, so I will do more damage with my other Arceus. So they're going to knock me out. Then I hit into him with my Arceus. I think I do 120 then. And then I still have to hit him a third time, which is the second time with that Arceus, though. So as long as they can't use their V-Star power, if they get off their V-Star power, then I'm in trouble, right? So they just need to bump the stadium. If they bump the stadium and heal, at this point, they're going to 2-shot my Arceus. There's nothing I can do to stop that, really. So I need to try to set up another attacker, is what I would say, too. All right, so I got another path down, which is good. So I will throw him into play. What's my energy situation? So, yeah, it's doing 120. Doesn't get me knockout, but... All right, so I've got energy. All right, so I have things to attack next turn. They bump the stadium. They probably win the game. If they don't bump the stadium, it's definitely my advantage because I'll go up on prizes. And up they bump the stadium. Good for them. They'll use the V-Star power now. I still might be able to get through it. Let's see what they do. So they're hitting him. They have knockout there. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I don't like that. That was not the play I wanted. But they still have to 2-shot me here, right? But they're down to 2 prizes. So, and then obviously a boss wins the game for them also, for sure. I do have a boss. I don't think I want to... I guess I throw down another... No, there's no reason to throw down another Arceus, is there? Maybe. I could retreat into him. So I think I need to work through this Goodra. If they have boss, they just win next turn. There's nothing I can do about that to stop it. I do have enough special energies to attack with this Arceus V. Boss, and I lose. That's just is what it is, right? I needed to be lucky. So they have boss. Good game to my opponent. They're taking down the Arceus V, but it didn't matter. They had Crobat, they had Lumineon also to take out. So, that game didn't go my way. The first game against Mew was a nice win against a deck matchup that was unfavorable. I didn't get to show off the Aerodactyl because I just haven't been seeing a lot of Lugia lately. I've been seeing a lot of Mew in Lost Zone. So anyway, so you got to see the deck in action. A lot of decisions with the deck. It's not the super, it's a bit of a slow deck. It's a strategic and slow deck. You're not doing big damage, but obviously You have it, you have access to it. If you haven't played it, give it a try. It is a good deck. I'm not so sure it's better than Lugia, but it's still a very solid deck. Take care.